Hello everyone, and welcome to Classy Whale. Today I'm here at Park City Mall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I'll be riding the Lebanon Transit special service from here to Lebanon. Now, people from said city are probably already going to be in my comments saying that I pronounced it wrong, and to them I will say, you're right. I give people flack all the time for saying Lancaster instead of Lancaster, and already I have completely mispronounced the city just to the north of us. It is apparently Lebanon, not Lebanon. Anyways, I'm riding this bus as part of a larger passion project, which you shall see in due course. But for right now, let's see how easy it is to get between Lancaster and Lebanon. So according to Google Maps, the Lebanon Transit SS bus stops right over here next to the Coles in a spot that is shared with the Red Rose Transit Authority. It's a wonderfully marked transit center with absolutely no signage for either transit agency. But I guess there are a couple benches, and the word bus is printed on the pavement, so that ought to count for something, right? Now, a bit of background on this route before our bus comes. This is the only public transportation connection between Lancaster and Lebanon. It only runs on Saturdays, and it only runs 3 times a day. It also does not go to downtown Lancaster, it simply goes here to Park City Mall on the outskirts of the city. This is the terminus for multiple city-based routes, such as the Park City B, which is pulling into the station right now. Additionally, the SS bus is not particularly targeted towards Lancaster residents who want to go to Lebanon. Rather, it is branded as a Park City connector for Lebanese people who wish to come down here to shop. Which means, on the first bus of the day, the 10:55, which is due to arrive any minute, I may be the only passenger, because I really doubt that that many other people are going to be trying to travel to Lebanon from Lancaster. Not that there aren't people who want to, I just don't really see this as very well advertised to Lancaster residents. So as the RRTA bus is leaving, here comes the Lebanon Transit bus, pulling into the mall. I should probably put my mask on. Gotta admit, that is a cool looking bus. Pulling up over there, run over from the Red Rose stop to catch it. Oh, here we go. We're all set. Pretty nice interior. Definitely seems built for longer journeys than the RRTA fleet. Take a seat near the back. Honestly, this seat is pretty comfy, and there's not a lot of people on board. There's only 2 other passengers. A lot of people got off for Park City Mall. Many of them were using wheelchairs or walkers. I'm surprised by how many of them could fit on this bus, which is awesome because capacity for said wheelchairs and walkers is always a must in public transportation. So far, really liking my experience on Lebanon Transit. Lebanon. I'll get this. Looks like there's some small overhead bins. And then you actually have a reading light. That doesn't work. And air vent that isn't on. Alright, well, we are here in Lebanon. I'll give you a tour of the bus station in a second, but overall, love that ride. The bus was very comfortable, seats were great, the route was very direct, and the driver was actually intent on enforcing the mask policy. She yelled at someone right after we left Park City for not putting their mask on. That person was me. I was drinking a lemonade and then I was filming and I completely forgot I'd taken it off, so good for her for enforcing that. So here's an exterior shot of the bus station. It was built in 2002, it looks like, and it's labeled for COLT, which is what Lebanon Transit used to be called. I think it stands for County of Lebanon Transit. But I think Lebanon Transit is a bit of a simpler name, if not as catchy. Now, interestingly, buses at this station just pull up on the side of the road. They don't really have a bus bay system like in Lancaster. Helpfully, there is a giant map of the Lebanon system on the side of the station. You can see that there are a bunch of routes all around the city. And then there's the bus we just took down to Park City. There's also an express out to Hershey and an express that goes even further to Harrisburg, but that's not running today. So unfortunately, the only long-distance route you can ride today is to Park City. Now, one question I have after riding the bus and seeing the bus station is what exactly the route I was on is actually called. I know I said a couple of times now that it's called the SS, but the actual bus was labeled for the 7. If you look at the map here, you can see there is no number 7. It just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16, 16C, 17, HCKE, SS, which is quite intuitive. And then the schedule that they had on the bus for this route simply calls it the Park City. So no 7, no SS. Here's the full schedule. This is rather disappointing because I had this whole gag prepared where I was going to start with a schedule that says SS, add a U in the middle, and then be like, there, a joke for all the middle schoolers who watch my channel. Alright, well now we have a little time to kill before the bus back to Park City. So I've heard that there is a fantastic farmer's market nearby. So let's head over there to get some lunch. Alright, well it turns out that you can't film in the Lebanon farmer's market. Good thing I asked. However, I did get some lunch. Got something from Keener's Poultry. We'll eat that whenever we find a park or something like that. And I also had to try Lebanon bologna, however you say it, because it's apparently a specialty here, although the guy at the deli couldn't tell me why exactly it's special, but it's local, so. Nice. Okay, this looks promising. Alright, so we have now left the Historical Society building, and truth be told, that place is really awesome. You should definitely check them out. Special thanks to my tour guide who gave me a private tour because there wasn't really much going on there. And since I didn't film during the actual tour, here is a quick list of highlights. These German language cornerstones come from old houses in the county. Lebanon used to have a massive courthouse until it caught fire, and the statue on the roof fell into the basement. This is all that's left of it. Here's a model of the courthouse that was carved by a dude with only one arm. Nice. Also, James Buchanan started practicing law in the room this is displayed in? Here's an old-timey pharmacy with all the actual ingredients it's still legal to own. Apparently pharmacists used to make their own pills, which sounds not sketchy at all. At this old barbershop, regular customers would have their own mugs for shaving cream. This weather vane used to sit on top of a church, but they took it down because people kept shooting it to make it spin. You can still see the bullet holes. There's also a display of rocks from the Cornwell mines south of the city, which weren't labeled when they came to the museum. Good thing they had a geologist on hand when they unpacked them, because this one's a lump of solid arsenic, and it could have poisoned the poor intern that picked it up if they hadn't immediately washed their hands. Here's the train station from the resort town of Cold Spring. Here's the shack where railroad crossing guards used to work 12-hour shifts. Yikes. And here's a display about Lebanon's famous bologna. Apparently, if you smoke it properly, you can store it at room temperature for a decent amount of time without spoiling. So touring the Historical Society kind of gave me a sense of the sort of place Lebanon is. Lebanon was originally, the county was originally part of Dauphin, Berks, and Lancaster counties, mostly Dauphin and Berks, but some Lancaster, and they basically took those regions and made them into their own county, called it Lebanon County, and then Lebanon City became the county seat. It was, at the time, a very strategically placed city, because it was on the road from Harrisburg to Reading. It was a major manufacturing hub, even had a Bethlehem steel plant at one point. And, now a lot of those things have kind of wound down. Manufacturing's moved overseas. A lot of people have moved elsewhere. And, there aren't a lot of people here. It's only about a fifth the size of Lancaster as a city. So that could be why there isn't a super great transportation connection to Lancaster, and why there is in fact no transportation connection to Reading that either I or my tour guide were aware of. And there are, however, people who might want that to change. And so maybe we'll see more frequent buses to Lancaster in the future. Not holding my breath, but hope to see it. And now, back to the bus station for my bus to Park City. There's a Lebanon Transit bus right there. It's been a interesting day here in Lebanon. Loved learning about the history of the town and trying some of the famous local bologna. And I think maybe I finally learned how to pronounce it. Well, the guide in the station actually has the SS symbol. So, as promised for my middle school viewers, it is now the sus bus. So this is the stop for the Park City bus, and it mentions a departure at 8:25 a.m., which I did not see on the schedule in the station, the schedule on the bus, or on the website. So that needs to be updated. But it's decent shelter. Okay, I just now realized how these chairs recline. Pull on the handle there, and back you go. And now, here we are, back in Lancaster County. We are now in the borough of Mannheim. And I'm going to take a little bit of a detour to get back to Park City. Namely, I'll be taking the Red Rose Transit Authority bus from here to Lancaster City. Don't recall the route number off the top of my head. Then I'll take the Park City A from there back to my car. So let's go. Here are my final thoughts on the Lebanon Transit. I think I finally said it right. Lebanon Transit SS/7 from Park City to the city of Lebanon. I liked it overall. The bus was very comfortable, fairly new, very clean, and the seats were nice for a 45-minute journey, much nicer than the city buses that they use on Red Rose Transit. I would say that my biggest complaint is just that it only runs once a week on Saturdays. I feel like there would be more ridership if they ran it 7 days a week. Maybe not 3 times a day, just like once or twice a day, because there's going to be people who want to go to Lebanon who are in Lancaster and vice versa. Probably going to be a lot of people in Lebanon who want to go to Park City on a weekday. So really that's the fairly obvious change that I would suggest to the system. Other than that, I really liked it. Wayfinding was decently easy, and it actually shows up on Google's transit directions, unlike Red Rose, for whatever reason. Anyways, now for the 19 bus. Now we're here at Queen Street Station, the rather lovely looking but slightly weirdly laid out terminal in downtown Lancaster. Again, more about that in a future video. And now for our last bus, the 1/Park City A to Park City. Actually, there ended up being a 2 bus coming in, so I think I'll just hop on that because it ends up in the same place. And here we are, back at Park City. The sun is setting. Everything is peaceful except for all the cars because people don't know how good transit is. Or maybe how good transit can be. Anyways, thank you so much for watching Classy Whale. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned for the grander project that this ride was a part of. Take care.